Welcome to CWM Talk. Today we have in the studio 3 special guests. Firstly, our moderator, Reverend Lydia Neshangwe, and 2 of our board members, Elder Lim Kaho and Albertine Kabaru. They are here for the Board of Directors meeting in Singapore, and we thought we would engage in some conversation about their ties to CWM, regional insights, etc. Let's start with Lydia. So Lydia, I'd just like to find out, what are your ties to CWM? When and how did you come to know about CWM?
Thank you for having us. My journey with CWM started at a very positive and celebratory note because it was the pre-assembly, and so we were being prepared to come to assembly in Jeju in 2016. And so the beginning of that journey was a time of celebrating together with many others, being together with about 200 other delegates, honoring the work that had been done before, meeting board members, meeting staff members, as well as interacting and doing business. So it was the time of the assembly, and it was a particularly positive time to start in a journey with CWM.
Yeah, I remember that. And I remember, I like the adjective that you use, celebratory, because I remember seeing you dancing with the other board of directors, and it was a very happy time. Yeah, so I do remember that. So that was 6 years ago. So how has CWM grown or evolved over time?
The irony, Agnes, is that CWM has grown because of a negative. And the negative has been the pandemic. As you know, this pandemic hit throughout the world, and many of the organizations that we are involved in back home or in other places that we come from came to a stop. Some of them just came to a total standstill and did not know what to do. But CWM did not come to a stop. They continued through the leadership of CWM, through the resilience of the staff. They continued to find ways and means and to pivot themselves and try this, that, and the other in order to continue going. And so you will find that in those pandemic years, the CWM was able to search for a GS and find a GS. CWM was able to have elections and find and elect a new board. And so the work of CWM has continued through the pandemic, even though we're not able to meet face to face, even though we're not able to have meetings as prescribed in our books and our policies, but we were able to make all the necessary adjustments. So CWM has grown so that they're able to operate whether or not there is face-to-face meetings. They're able to operate and continue.
Agree. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Elder Lim.
Yes.
So can you share with us any memorable highlights from 2022 this
Oh,
year?
there are. As what just now moderator mentioned, this current board member were appointed during the lockdown period.
Yes.
And of course, all our meetings will be meeting via online. We don't see each other face to face. So when we get to know this year, in month of June, we can meet each other in physical. Wow, that kind of excitement, we are waiting for that period of time. When the day comes, the first day when we meet each other, it was so much fun we can have together, because when you meet online, you can't really have that kind of fun together.
That's right.
And over the Zoom, we only can see each other on the upper part of
that's
us.
right. That's
We can't imagine that person, how does it look like, how tall or what is the size like,
right.
and the character of that person.
Yes.
So on the first day when we meet, especially like Albertine, all the while we think, Albertine maybe is about my size. When we first met Albertine, wow, Albertine, yeah, like that.
Supermodel.
Yeah. And we find many talents, hidden talents among the directors. And one thing, as what moderator mentioned, all the board of directors can sing very well. Yeah, that was the most memorable events of this year. Of course, there is another one, which is in the month of August, when CWM launched the Onesimus project, and some of us are able to participate in that particular project, which is a very significant moment for CWM. Yeah, so for me, these are the two most memorable events that took place in year 2022 for me.
Yeah. Thank you, Elder Lim. I think, what you said is very significant. Face-to-face meetings, nothing can ever replace it.
Yes.
However, as Reverend Lydia mentioned, CWM had to pivot, and things must go on. So that still enabled all of you to be elected and to carry on with business. But at the end of the day, even meeting Albertine face-to-face and even yourself, Elder Lim, when we communicate, if by emails and all that, it will have more meaning because I've met you all in person.
Yes, discussion in meetings are more efficient. We can discuss actually more details.
That's right.
And we can make a much better decision.
And the non-verbals, as you mentioned as well. Very important when
correct.
engaging. Albertine, you're from Papua New Guinea. So we'd like some regional insights. So could you share with us interesting things that people may find about your region related to Council for World Mission, and something that not necessarily related to CWM about the Pacific?
Absolutely. Pacific region is the largest region in the membership of Council of World Mission. And that's in terms of our work as Council of Mission. That's one unique thing about Pacific region. On the other hand, the Pacific region is very colorful. And we have this celebratory approach to in our culture and in our upbringing, and we have dance and song, and in every celebration at all levels, where there is feasting, food must be there. Food is part of our culture. Yes, absolutely. And from where I come from, I'm wearing what we call a Mary blouse, and it's very common dress that women wear. And so you have here the bird of paradise, which is the Ragiana, and the common one used on our national flag. And so we have 7 different species of the bird of paradise in Papua New Guinea, and it's only found in Papua New Guinea. Yes, and that's,
Is there any prayer requests for your region?
Absolutely. There are many, but 2 stand out. We have our church in Tahiti, in the Pacific region, that battle with a human rights issue of people suffering from the effects of nuclear testing in our waters in Tahiti. And so we call out to our member churches, our ecumenical partners, Christians throughout the world, to pray for us in this journey that we have, to see that those who are responsible in the nuclear testing in our waters bring justice to our people. Yes. And number 2 is we in our region, climate change is really affecting our people, because we're an island in a region. Many of our nation, our independent states, are islands. And so many parts of our islands are sinking.
Yes.
And we have our people refusing to relocate. And so we need prayers for our people. People are so attached to the land, so attached to their history and their heritage. And to take them from one space to another space, it's something that we as CWM, an ecumenical partner to our member churches, we as a community of global partners, help our people to go from one stage to the next stage. And so we're battling with bringing our people from that space into the next new space. So we need prayers for our people.
Thank you for sharing, and indeed we will keep these 2 prayer requests in mind. Elder Lim, I'd like to come back to you. Aside from your involvement with Council for World Mission board duties, what's your involvement in your church?
Okay, besides as a board member as well as a member of the finance committee for CWM, in my local church context, as a bigger setup, we call it the Presbyterian Church of Malaysia, or in my language we call it Graduate Presbyterian Malaysia. I'm a general secretary. Okay. Beside on that, I'm also an elder for my local church, and also I'm involved in the local ministry, which is the indigenous ministries. Yeah, because indigenous is one of the group of the people that have been neglected over the years, and especially in the peninsular Malaysia here, we still have close to about 80% of them living under poverty, and almost half of them are illiterate. That's why when we look at that, the local church move in. First is to look at the life flourishing things. We bring the good news to them so that the life transformation can be into their lives. And of course, education. We can see those days when the London missionary, they came over, the first thing is to build schools so that the people can receive education. Likewise, we did the same for these indigenous people. We hope that through education, we can transform their life, especially the younger generations. Of how we do it is in the very beginning, we teach them the very basic learning like ABC, simple arithmetics. Then after that, through the Sunday school, the Bible teaching, they are learning. And of course, for those children, if they are interested in going to school, we have a hostel. With the consent of the parents, we bring them and they stay in hostel, and we send them to the proper school.
What's the take-up rate at the moment?
Okay, at this moment, we have so-called the ministry. We have close to about 200 families that we are involved in.
Wow.
All the 200 families, but for the children, because since young they've been following their parents, they go into the jungle, all these kind of things. So their interest in education, in learning, is still not that very high.
Right.
So before the pandemic, when we have, at the max, we have close to about 26 children that we are able to gather in this hostel and send them to the proper school.
Okay. It sounds like a very good project.
Yeah,
And
but at least it is a start. We have this
Yes,
number. We
correct.
hope through years, we can grow the numbers. Yeah, on that.
most certainly. Right. So in closing, I've got a few questions. One for you, Reverend Lydia. What are your biggest expectations related to CWM in the coming year?
So in the coming year, there are 4 things that I think that we should all expect from CWM, which I believe that CWM is ready to deliver. Firstly, that CWM needs to be agile. Agile because it's a volatile world with volatile situations, even volatile diseases. And so they need to be ready for anything. Secondly is for them to be flexible. And the flexibility is especially important because we live in an uncertain world. So much is uncertain. And also there needs to be innovativeness. And this innovativeness is especially important because it's a complex world. Nothing is simple anymore, from relationships to organizations to politics, economics, anything is all complex. And finally, to be discerning. And I say finally, but that is the most important part, because CWM is a partnership of churches and so must be driven by the Spirit rather than driven by business or driven by any other worldly values. It must be driven by the Spirit. And once we are discerning in all that we do, then CWM will continue to be successful.
I really like your 4 wishes for Council for World Mission and how you've linked them. Thank you very much. Elder Lynn, the last question is, what are your New Year's greetings to the member churches and ecumenical partners?
Yeah, I would like to use the word light, to encourage our member churches as well as our ecumenical partners. But before we go into the light, I want to just say we have to reflect on ourselves, especially this year, whether it is the good or the bad, we will learn from our good and we also learn from our bad. So that for the good, we'll continue to do it in the year 2023. And for the bad, we learn from the lesson, we improve it. And for the light, we can see all our missions program that we are doing is all dealing with people, right? So dealing with people, we need to have that love of Christ, just like Jesus has taught us, love your neighbor as yourself. So I will start with the word light, the L, love your neighbor as yourself. To do that, we had to be intimate Jesus, how he has done during his time. So the I represent intimate Christ. When we intimate Christ, definitely we have the love for the people. Then we will get to know the people surrounding us. That is the G. Then to show them the hospitality to them. Of course, finally, we can tell them about Jesus. That is the light. So with this light in mind, we move into the year 2023. And of course, we have to focus on the person that is Jesus in the year 2023. So that, on this Bible verse, I would like to use, in Proverbs 16:3, it says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. So with this, we believe we can succeed in the Lord in the year 2023.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you to the three of you for your insights and your well wishes for Council for World Mission. Albertine, thank you for your enlightenment on the bird of paradise, which to me has always been a plant that I see in Singapore, but to understand now that there's an actual bird with 7 species. And I think you really summed it up well, that it represents the Pacific Islands because it's colorful and that's the embodiment of your culture.
Yeah. Not to forgetting the food you mentioned.
Oh,
Every
yes,
time,
that's right.
That is
Okay,
also
that's
in
very
our region
similar.
where we meet each other.
Yes,
we say,
that's right.
have you taken your
Yes,
meals?
that's
on that?
right.
Yeah.
Same but different.
Yes.
And Reverend Lydia, thank you for reminding me of the start of your journey, which is actually the start of my journey with CWM, 2016, and also for for reminding us of those four expectations of CWM: agility, flexibility, innovativeness, and discernment. I think this is something that we can definitely apply and remember. And Elder Lim, an impressive portfolio that you juggle, not just with your
Thank you very much.
CWM
All glory
duties.
and praise to the Lord. Yeah.
And the good work that you're doing for your church and really making sure that education is available. And the small steps will become progressively big steps. So thank you once again, the three of you, for your time and for your sharing. And we've come to a close for today's CWM talk. And we look forward to seeing you for our next one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.